Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year when we take stock, where we evaluate, analyze, and dissect the performances of public officials based on their campaign promises. Today, we are going to be looking at the President Muhammadu Buhari administration in 2017. Has he done well? Did he do well in 2017? Did he not do well in 2017? Based on broad themes of security, fighting corruption, infrastructure, the economy, health, education, petrol scarcity or petrol panic buying, they call it, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, NSAS, and all of that. Of course, I'm not going to be doing this alone. To join me to analyze the performance of the Buhari administration is Tunde Eneji, who is a Buharist. He likes to call himself a Buharist. He's a member of the APC, of course, and he's a banker. Welcome, Tunde.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And Ifeanyi Dumebi, he swears by the PDP, and he works in the media.
Thank you very
Welcome, sir. You look very passionate. Welcome, gentlemen. Yeah.
2017 started on a very tense note, coupled with the fact that he's had challenges. So a lot of our compatriots decided to be a bit heady, and upon his resumption from his medical leave, he did a 6-minute national broadcast, and
that was where he told us not to cross the national line.
And the fact of the matter is that that 6-minute broadcast was magical, because immediately after that, there was the Operation Python Dance 2. Let's not lose sight of the fact that there was actually an Operation Python Dance in 2016. It was not politicized, right? The 2017, of course, coupled with the fact that Nnamdi Kanu has gone haywire and then tend to be uncontrollable, the Nigerian army stepped in. The Operation Python Dance wasn't really targeted at Nnamdi Kanu. It was more of the general security situation in the South and the Southeast.
Okay.
And truth of the matter is that since then, we have had relative calm, there's been peace all over the Southeast and even, of course, beyond. So the fact is, in terms of security, we have had great successes in terms of calming down fraying nerves. The president has also deployed his charm offensive by visiting hotspots and even speaking to the elders. He has had several interactions with the elders. Even in his absence, the then acting president, Professor Yomi Osibanjo, has also on several occasions, met with leaders and opinion molders from that region to just calm fraying nerves, and it really worked.
But some would say Boko Haram is still a threat, and that even technically or otherwise, they haven't been defeated, because we still have soft target attacks.
Now, when anytime you hear technically defeated Boko Haram, that term refers to the fact that these sects do not have the capacity or the capability to wage a frontal war against the Nigerian government any longer. Don't forget that this year, GTI released a statement by saying that Nigeria recorded the biggest achievement in terms of terror-related deaths, dropped by 80%. That report came out in November, on November 15. So it is a testament to the fact that this government has done fantastically well in terms of security.
Do you agree, Fanny?
To be very frank, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on this show.
Yeah.
But to be very frank, yes, I respect the military for the job they've done in terms of attacking Boko Haram. But we must focus on some salient facts. Now, there is this new group called the Fulani Headsmen that have been killing people up and down. And so far, nothing significant has been done about routing them or taking care of this problem. We've heard of several villages in the north that have been raided by Fulani Headsmen, women and children being killed. Do you understand? Cattle being rustled, stolen, dozens of lives lost. Also, under this dispensation, we've had the highest rate of police brutality. You can remember just recent the NSAS campaign that went on Twitter. That tag trended for over 2 days, which shows that there's a very deep problem. People were complaining of how individuals that were put in positions to fight armed robbers were fleecing them of their hard-earned money and taking their property by force.
Why didn't the presidency say anything?
When you run a presidential system, you have aides, you have appointees who act, who speak on your behalf, right? The president will not speak on, except he's jobless, speak on every issue where you have an appointee. Well, why do you then need?
Here's what I believe: any leader, not just a president, is a leader that sees that his people are complaining because they are the ones that voted him there. He's accountable to them and them only. It is him that they will hold responsible.
When you say the president should speak on every issue, there was a road accident that claimed 10 lives between Abeokuta and Ibadan Road yesterday. Is the president going to speak on that?
First of all, let me state that these are two very different facts.
No.
This NSAS
thing, we lost lives.
Let me speak. This NSAS thing is something a large percentage of Nigerians are crying out about. On Twitter, it trended for 3 days. There were thousands of tweets on this, which means it's a national issue. People from the north, people from the south, complaining about this same thing. Do you understand?
Anybody can trend any topic on Twitter, right? And the NSAS issue, we need to also be
Are
very
you
careful.
defending the gross violation of human rights of Nigerian citizens?
By the time I share my background with you, I have more information on this than
you can't.
Let me tell you on SARS. Just yesterday, 4 fake SARS officers were arrested in Rivers State for robbery.
The governor of Rivers State
hold it.
has been complaining about SARS in the state for a very long time.
Because anybody can perpetrate any crime under the name of SARS.
Does that not tell you that a
reform should be carried
out? Is there SARS? Are there cases of SARS brutality? Because we have to be clear.
I cannot.
Whether from fake or from original.
Let's not be hypocritical about
Of course, there is
dozens of cases, not little cases.
There is an issue of high-handedness by the SARS, right?
Enough for the presidency to address.
Of course, he's not going to come on national TV to say, I have asked the IG to do this. Is he doing something about it? Of course, why not? But is it going to come on the page of newspaper or on CNN to say, I've asked the IG, especially police,
something that is a national issue? The president does not have national issue, should not appear on national, or at least address something in newspaper. What are you saying?
Bring back our guest is a national campaign. Are we going to accuse the president that he doesn't speak on it on TV? Is he doing something about it? Yes.
Let me explain.
Is he not doing something about it?
Sorry, for you, explaining the statement from the IGP on NSAS, did it suffice for you?
It didn't suffice, and I'll give you in fact, I'm very happy with what you said. Just yesterday, 100%, I'm telling you the 100% gospel truth. My junior brother went to use an ATM, Access Bank ATM, and on his way out, a yellow bus, a downfall yellow bus, stopped him, and officials of SARS jumped down and began to harass him. They asked him, say that he should enter, that please enter the bus. This, I'm telling you, happened just yesterday morning. Enter the bus. He said, why? Enter that they should enter the bus, that they don't have, that he shouldn't ask them any question, that he should hand over his phone. He told them that he will enter the bus, but they should follow him because our house wasn't very far. That they should follow him and come and meet his dad. Then he removed his hat, and they saw that he was a small boy, a boy of 16 years. Then they now looked at his phone, handed it over to him, and told him to leave. Imagine that was someone else who wasn't that.
So here's the thing. So here's the thing. Like I said, right?
What would have happened to anybody? Families have lost their loved ones.
We apologize
because of illegal detention.
We apologize for that.
We are not in any position to apologize.
This is what I want to
know.
The
Inspector General of Police should come out and pacify the people. The president should have spoken on this issue because it affects Nigerians on a large scale.
If I get Ifeanyi correctly, he's trying to say that even though the IGP has released a statement,
yes,
SARS brutality hasn't stopped.
SARS
extortion hasn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped.
So my point is, anybody could have impersonated anybody. Yesterday, the EFCC released a statement.
Why should
Hold it. Yesterday, the EFCC released a statement of people impersonating Ibrahim Magu. We have had issues in this country where people wear the Nigerian Army uniform on an operation.
Hold on.
Do you blame the Nigerian Army for such? What you then need to do is to identify the bad eggs, right? Hold it. Once these fake people are caught, then you met out the
Can I point out something?
You cannot completely.
Okay, let's assume what he's saying is fact. Does that not
assume it is fact.
Does that not show gross incompetence on the side of the police force that has been put in position to investigate situations like this? Are they not supposed to come at the forefront and block such activities from happening? You have the federal SARS right? You have the SARS. How was SARS created? The uniform of SARS is jeans and t-shirts.
Who are the SARS?
How would you?
Who are the federal SARS? Who are the SARS? I don't know federal SARS. I don't know SARS.
Hold on. There's FSARS, there's normal SARS.
In a few words, Ifeanyi,
you don't arrest somebody because of expressing opinions.
Do you think the Buhari administration has done well in terms of security?
I do not think they've done well in terms of security. And here is why. If they have done well in terms of security, I do not see any reason why $1 billion should be withdrawn from the excess crude account to fight Boko Haram.
Quick.
Truth of the matter is that they have done well, because I have just told you that the biggest
$1 billion, $1 billion.
The $1 billion thing is not just for Boko Haram. The vice president has clarified it. It is for the entire security architecture. So when my friend from the media is giving up this kind of information, he said it that it is for the entire security architecture, and then a governor says,
the head of the Nigerian Governors Forum, specifically stated that this was the reason given to governors for the withdrawal of that money. And this is occurring a year to the general election.
You are late to this news. You are late to this.
Deceiving who?
You see, Ifeanyi, don't argue this way. That is for you, general election.
Why is it now?
You have 11 of your PDP governors there.
See, one of them came out and said that
you have an ABGA governor there. Is the ABGA governor contesting election in 2019?
See, when I knew something,
as a media man, you have your facts. You marshal your argument in a logical way. Don't explain anything.
This is
are you saying that?
And you're expecting me as a common Nigerian citizen to fall for that bobo?
All of a sudden,
no, I will not.
The other 10 Nigerian governors,
you cannot bobo a Nigerian
citizen that is well informed. The other 10 states,
you are a member of the APC. I do not expect you to say the truth about the matter. This is the truth. $1 billion from excess crude account for Boko Haram.
Calm down. Ifeanyi, calm down. I've heard you.
Boko Haram has been technically defeated.
Calm down.
Boko Haram has been strategically defeated. Boko Haram has been superficially defeated. When will all be Kali defeated?
As a media man,
you don't tell
are
me
you saying that the 10 governors representing PDP are conniving with the APC government?
I said,
are you saying so?
Is
that what you are saying?
Here is what
yes or no?
It is not a direct answer.
No, because you are categorical that is for 2019 election.
A governor of the People's Democratic Party.
Okay.
Ayodele Fayose came out and denied the claims, saying that he did not succumb.
Ifeanyi, do you think the president has done well in terms of tackling corruption?
I think the president has done absolutely nothing, and I believe he has done exceedingly badly. If I'm to use that word,
calm down.
If I'm to use that word, I know it doesn't really.
Okay. So you're one of those who thinks that the war against corruption has just been a witch hunt.
Let me explain, and I will state it from one step to another. Now, the president said he wants to come in. It was one of his campaign promises to fight corruption. Here's what I'm asking. Why is it when you join the All Progressives Congress, all of a sudden your sins are forgiven? Like in the words of Sheikh Husani, who is also an All Progressive Congress member, he said the president uses deodorant for those in his cabinet, those that are in his side, and he uses insecticide for those outside. That's the words of an APC.
No, but Babachir Lawal was fired. Abdul Rashid Maina was fired.
I'm coming. Let's analyze this thing critically. You understand? I will name all of them. Timi Priye-Silva has a case with the EFCC for embezzlement of funds. Under this decision, he joined the APC. When the APC came back to power, they gave him back 40 houses. Somebody who I believe did not have up to half, in fact, didn't even have up to 5 houses before joining government. He has 40 houses. You're fighting corruption. He's a former governor. It does not tell you that there's some danger there. 2, you have Abdul Rashid Maina. You cannot reinstate somebody without approval from the president. How can you tell me that a principal officer like that, somebody so high in government, is reinstated without the president knowing? Hey, let us say the truth. Apart from that, Ojus Okalu had a case just a few months ago, recently, with the EFCC. Immediately when they come to the APC, Ojus Okalu's trial has been stalled. Do you understand? These are the things that we are pointing out. In fact, there are many more. Babachir Lawal used 200 million to cut grass. A company that was a technology company. What does a technology company? Their contract was awarded to a company he was a chairman of. What does a technology company have to do with cutting grass? And after that, you suspend him. If not for the massive outcry, if Not for the massive outcry. Babachi was sacked. But if you sack him, it's not enough. He's supposed to be prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. What is happening? What is going on? Who is deceiving who?
Tunde, quick reaction.
Thank you very much. It's not going to be a quick reaction. It's going to be the same time.
Okay.
So I take it that Ifeanyi is not keeping abreast with events in the country. So I will forgive him.
You are very 100% wrong for stating that.
So I'll take you for the case of
everything I state here should be researched and it to be factful.
Okay,
and
so but interruptions are actually
no. So that you can mention, I don't disrupt his
flow. Go on with your points.
Let me tell you on the issue of anti-corruption. You see, let's not mistake conviction with fighting corruption. the mistake most of analysts, public affairs analysts make is that once there are no convictions, there is no war going on, and that is very wrong, right? Your anti-corruption encapsulates...
What does the Nigerian Constitution state?
Hold it. Your anti-corruption...
Until you're proven
your anti-corruption encapsulates so many things. You block leakages, right? You punish offenders, right? You block leakages so that people don't exploit opportunities therein before you came in, right? You punish those who violate such rules, right? And then existing case that you inherited, you fight it to the end. That is how you see anti-corruption drive. It is not just when you see, for me, as an individual, as a Nigerian, I will appreciate one day conviction. Just one day that somebody is convicted to just spend a day because that tarnished your record. Hold it. Now, let me come back to the issue of Orji Uzor Kalu. Orji Uzor Kalu moved to APC does not mean that his case is dead. As recently as 2 weeks ago, he was still in court. Hold it. This was a case. Hold it. This was a case that was inherited.
I specifically read in the Guardian that his case was stalled.
Stalled by what? Has he been acquitted?
When was
Has he been acquitted?
Let
me tell you one thing. There is a Jolly Yamen. There is a Darie. Okay. There are cases since 2007. Are you going to blame the Buhari government for that?
Am I going to see?
Hold it. It's a question. Right? And I'll come back. This government, over $2.9 billion has been recovered.
And
hold it.
How has that benefited the common man on the street?
Saraki is an APC. Saraki is still in court.
Yeah.
What
were the circumstances of closing his trial?
The appeal court just asked that he should go back and defend himself, right?
Why did they close it in the first place?
It is not a question of why. That is the law.
So there's no political undertone.
It is for you to tell us the political undertone.
See,
legally, the Code of Conduct Bureau said the prosecuting team has not been able to establish a primary facile case against him. Are you going to blame me, you, or Jude for that? You are not a lawyer. You don't have a legal background. You cannot interpret what the CCT saw. However, the appeal court has sent him back to go and defend himself, specifically to prove that he actually funded all of those assets by selling rice. Right? I hope that is not lost on you. And I'll come back.
Explain the question.
MENA issue.
Yes, explain.
I really, as somebody who is sympathetic to PDP, I really do not think you should be mentioning MENA in the public. You know why? Because this heist was committed during your own government. Hold it. Why did he, in the first place, why was he sacked?
No.
Why was he sacked? Why was MENA sacked?
Enlighten me.
No, I can't enlighten you because you have the information.
You mentioned
MENA was sacked because of pension fund that he and his gang stole. And MENA is just a face of the gang looting the pension fund. He is just the ball boy.
But today it was
under
the PDP.
So what are the circumstances
that the pension reform tax force was put together?
It was, yes. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that the job where he was invited to come and do, he ended up worsening the case. If not, how can
if he was a criminal, if he was a criminal under the PDP, then why did your administration bring him back into government? For what purpose?
No, so here's the
was he stealing to supply to them for the elections?
So here's the response.
Was he stealing to supply to them for campaign funds during the 2015 presidential elections?
Calm down. This president won election without MENA's fund, without SS good accounts. This president will not need, if he chooses to contest, will not need pension fund MENA's money to win election.
You know,
hold it. I want to make that categorically clear.
If we have to go to the 2015 campaign,
let me tell you.
Let's not go there.
In terms of anti-corruption, right? For God's sake, 50,000 ghost workers were recently cleansed out of the payroll. saving the country 6.9 billion monthly.
Does that
take that to what it has become a year?
This government.
That is the Kemi Adeosun you call the typist. Hold it. That's what I'm saying. Anti-corruption is not just about conviction.
Okay, I've heard what
you block. I'm not done.
Okay,
you block the leakages. You penalize those who violate your rules, right? Okay. 50,000 ghost workers saving the country 6.9 billion every month.
Under what apparatus do they use to find out those?
It doesn't matter who did it.
Was it the single?
So you have the apparatus. Why did you do it?
Wait, was it the single treasury account?
No. Hold it. What? We are saying ghost workers. What has ghost worker got to do with TSA?
No.
We are saying people who have multiple accounts through which they siphon monthly salary, or people who are not even in existence.
What was the purpose of creating this TSA?
Oh God. Ifeanyi,
no,
let's not jump.
No.
Let's not jump.
It's a simple question.
I'm coming back to TSA. I'm coming back to BVN, right?
What was the
let's not jump into. You are saying the anti-corruption war is dead on arrival. I am telling you what has been recorded. You don't know what it cost Nigeria to lose 6.9 billion monthly.
Is it reflecting on the common man? If it is reflecting, see, I don't judge things based on proper. See, I don't judge things based on numbers.
Ifeanyi, are you aware that
some
subsidy thieves were sentenced back 10 years?
Let me see.
Recently. Are you aware?
This government is a government of propaganda, and I will explain.
Oh yes.
Explain
$2.9 billion is propaganda. 50,000 ghost workers.
Hold on now.
Saraki being in court is propaganda.
See, first of all,
tell me what is propaganda.
First of all, see, this is how an economy
tell me one thing.
We came out of recession, yeah? Good news. Second quarter of 2017. You don't consider that an achievement?
Let me explain first of all.
It's not because the
let me explain. Let me explain first of all. I judge the country based on the feelings of the common man, because they constitute the larger percentage. In fact, they constitute the greatest percentage. You are telling me on the pages of newspaper that the economy is out of recession, but the food price index, no visible change. Everything is, prices of food is going high, up and down. It's going high. And you're telling me you're fixing the economy. Okay. Do you understand? You look at this thing. When Jonathan handed over May 29, 2015, was Nigeria in a recession? No. This country went without ministers for 6 months. When did we start hearing recession? Under Jonathan, Dangote became the richest man on earth, rising to as high as $23 billion. Hold on. $23 billion in
Stop it, Ifeanyi.
Hold on.
You are using one man.
I said, wait.
You are using one man.
See,
in a country of 175 million people.
Listen,
Dangote was already a millionaire before Jonathan became
No. They are unofficial indices.
Your president used number of private jet owners as a benchmark for economic progress. Bravo. Who does that?
See,
who does that?
There are unofficial indices for predicting the growth of an economy.
Private jet owners.
Dangote.
Why is that?
I didn't mention private jet. I mentioned Dangote. Dangote became the richest man under the Jonathan government. Okay. Under the PDP. Listen.
What was the policy? What was the policy that led to that?
I'm coming.
What was the policy now?
Under
a policy to economic progress.
Under the Jonathan government, Nigeria became the biggest economy in Africa. Top
Bravo.
South Africa and Egypt.
Bravo.
Under the Jonathan government,
but someone said that was because we did a rebasing of the economy.
What was the policy executed by your own economic team?
Even when Nigeria was ranked as the biggest economy in Africa.
Okay. Under whose
was
directive
the common man on the street feeling it?
See, let me tell you. Let me give you a very
There was no poverty in Nigeria.
See, there was poverty, right? But people could still smile. People could still...
Because some would say people were smiling because there was a lot of corrupt money in circulation.
I will explain it to you. I will explain the voodoo economy to you. Let me tell you.
Let me finish now.
No, you can't finish. Listen, because you are not hitting the point.
People could smile. I'm not here for propaganda. I'm here for the benefit of the common man.
No, you are here for facts.
Listen, I'm here for facts.
Use your facts to appease.
You are an APC apologist, so
I have no apology for that.
I
told you before the session. I disclosed.
Now, I am going to
full disclosure.
The common man.
But you use me. You
cannot smile under this dispensation.
How do you mean?
Do you understand? Last year, I read the story of a man who sold 2 of his kids to get a bag of rice because of hunger.
Time immemorial.
See, go out
people
on
have
the
donated their
streets.
children. Time immemorial. It has
go
happened before.
Out on the streets and ask for the opinion of the country.
It has happened before. Listen, let's talk about the economy.
The Nigerian economy is not doing well under this administration.
Okay, so let me give
we
you
went into recession under this administration. That was how it was said that Jonathan depleted the treasury.
But he did.
Mr. Jonathan
64 billion to 29 billion. What did he use the money for?
Now, I will come to that. You made a
You
very
can't
big
come to that
mistake.
because you don't have anything to
See,
say.
first off,
$64 billion.
first off,
He left 29 billion.
hold
Who
on,
does that?
hold on.
With the highest
First
debt
off,
ever.
he dared the APC to publish his handover notes. Nothing was heard from the APC camp. He dared you guys to publish his handover notes.
He should have
Nothing
done that.
was heard.
No.
Two,
Here's the thing.
the CBN report, the Premium Times, CBN report.
No.
Listen,
See.
Amechi said that Jonathan embezzled, that Obasanjo left behind 65 billion. CBN reports prove that as a lie, as recent as just last week.
Mathematically, pick your barrier. Let's do a little mathematics.
Obasanjo left behind $9.5 billion.
What?
Yes, go and check this. It is fact. It was a research carried out
In
by.
what? In what?
It was an investigative report carried out by. $9.5 billion in our excess crude account.
What of reserve?
Listen now.
What of reserve? The reserve didn't tell you what the reserve was.
I'm coming.
He left.
Amechi
when
said
he left,
65 billion was in the excess crude account. He lied. He's a chieftain of your party.
No,
He's a minister of trade. He lied.
No.
If
He did not
the
say
chief-
See,
Sir,
as
the APC
a key player in that
has been
administration.
associated with tons of lies.
Okay, so
Amechi lied
Okay.
that Obasanjo
If I
had
calm down.
60,
If I calm
left
down.
behind
If I-
$65
how much did
billion
Obasanjo leave in
in
foreign-
excess crude
foreign
account.
reserve?
He lied.
No, okay.
If he lied for that one, how then do we know that he will say the
Fine.
truth? Or
Fine.
you guys will say the truth
I want to listen
about
to
what
you.
was-
I'm not
Why
gonna-
didn't you publish
I
the
don't want to
handover
believe- I
notes?
don't want to
What
believe-
was the circumstances of not publishing
You know
the
what?
handover notes?
I am not believing that.
Please,
If I,
please,
I'll believe
please.
you. If
This
I,
party
I'll
is a
believe
party
you.
of lies.
If I, I'll believe
You
you.
lied too
What
much.
did Obasanjo leave?
Don't lie to
In
the Nigerian
2007,
people.
what did he leave?
2007, what did he? To the best of my knowledge, in the excess crude account, $9.5 billion.
What did he leave in foreign reserve?
No, you enlighten me.
No,
What
no,
did
no,
he
no,
do?
no, no, no,
No, I want to
If
find
I-
out.
you
I
cannot
want to
come here
find out.
unprepared.
You know your party lies. Your party lies too much.
If I-
So I want to
you cannot
catch
come
you.
here unprepared.
I want to catch
You
you
have an
in your lies.
information
Tell me.
minister
You
whose
know more.
name
Educate
is
me.
Lai Mohammed.
Exactly.
And-
Who has once
He hasn't said
stated
anything. Like, he has not put a lie here.
Lai Mohammed
Right, so we're
has
not going
once
to bring lie here.
said that
Okay, we're
talking about reserve.
imagine a minister saying that masquerades will give jobs to Nigerian youths in Nigeria
Let's talk
in the
about the economy.
21st
Now, let's come back to
century.
the economy.
Sir,
Ifeanyi,
is this
calm down.
good?
Ifeanyi, calm down.
Is this good?
Ifeanyi,
And
when
what
Obasanjo
is
left,
what you know?
when he left,
But just remember, a chieftain of your party was caught in a lie.
Okay, don't believe him, believe me, right?
Continue.
And I
I'm
also
listening.
believe you.
I'm
Today,
listening.
No. I'm going to talk. He talked about the foreign reserve.
the economy.
Right?
Do
Yes.
you think we've done well so far?
Yes. And I'll give you the indices, right?
Is he showing on the common man?
In December 2016,
Hunger in
the
Nigeria has
inflation rate
tripled.
was at 18%.
Poverty has tripled.
As at November,
But we keep
it has
hearing the
come down to
economy
15.7%.
is going
inflation rate.
fine. Lies.
For the first time in how many years, Nigeria recorded massive leap from ease of doing business. The target for 2017 was that we'll move 20 points, but we have moved 24 points. Today, as we speak, our foreign reserve is hitting 40 billion from the 29 billion that we took over in 2015. Hold it, right? At a time Nigeria was grappling with recession, at a time oil was not selling up to 100 per dollar, at a time when we were fighting all kinds of internal war, right? That the president had to grapple with all sorts of distractions. Nigeria foreign reserve is hitting 40 billion. But at a time when somebody was selling on oil for more than $100 per barrel, the reserve was dropping. What is the correlation?
Can you react to that? Because I remember that under Jonathan, we're selling oil for as high as $100 per barrel, and the economy wasn't doing well. What happened to all that money?
See, we can't say the economy wasn't doing well. The economy was doing perfectly well. It was buoyant. Let's not dice facts. It was buoyant.
Under Jonathan.
The Jonathan brought up the UN initiative. Schools were built for Amajiris in the north. I can't Ibiam Airport in Enugu State. Hold on. These are all elements of growth. Apart from that,
Is that what emptied the treasury?
See, $9.7 billion in foreign investment came into Nigeria. Businesses were booming in this country. Under this dispensation, you heard about 21 shipping companies that left this country because of what was going on.
The IMF just came up last week to say Nigeria is still the destination for investors. We have recorded over $10 billion in FDI in the last 6 months. Hold it. No. I am going to provide the fact for you.
How many people?
Don't go to the public.
Hello. We were both here, we're both alive. We both use social media.
Your
when people came online,
coordinator of the economy. Your coordinator of the economy said Nigerians should prepare for hardship in 2014.
They were being let go.
A recession for 2 years earlier.
By companies they work for.
If I
They were complaining of how they were being let go. MTN sacked a lot of staff.
How did we move from 5.3 in GDP growth? 5.3 in GDP growth, 5.3% to 2.3% in 2 years.
Can I ask you a question?
How did we do that?
Can I ask you a question? You're naming figures that don't correlate with facts, with what is on ground.
You want to check MBS? You want to check MBS website? Do you want us to check it now? See. Somebody should bring a laptop and check it for us.
Hold on.
5.3% growth in GDP. 2 years later, you are 2.3. What is that?
See,
what kind of economy is that?
Okay, can I speak?
You can speak.
Okay,
but speak facts.
You are saying the Buhari administration inherited a comatose economy and he's trying to clean up.
A terminal, an economy in ICU.
Well, at the end of the year, right, and the fuel queues have returned.
Yeah.
Why are we always experiencing petrol scarcity during the Yuletide, during the festive season? Is it some kind of grand conspiracy against the people?
So I was thinking about it myself on my way here, and here is the issue. Traditionally, in the month of December, people take advantage, right, to exploit ordinary Nigerians, right? And it is a non-fact today that the NNPC does not have the capacity locally to meet the
And the Minister of Petroleum is President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yeah.
Do you think he has done enough?
Yeah, he has. You see, the petroleum ministry is not a ministry that you throw to the wolves. Those who just left the place will tell you what has happened, what has become of us, right? So, now, people naturally will connive to exploit and take opportunity. Even when there was no fuel scarcity, during Yuletide, you go to the park to take a bus down to the village, it is hyped.
Can I
listen, hold it, just hold it. I am establishing a fact.
He said
it is hyped.
He said something
It
that
is in
just
our
bothered me
innate,
very deeply.
it is in our DNA.
He said
to
that
exploit
there were
ourselves.
wolves in NNPC before. He even asked me if 32 billion was missing from
No. In fact,
hold on. You said that. You said
I didn't say NNPC.
He asked me.
I said yes. It was published.
Let me point out something to you. The Minister of State for Petroleum came out and said, see, misappropriation of $26 billion. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if he truly is fighting corruption, is supposed to set up an independent panel of investigators to swoop in on this and find out, is it true what this man is saying? Do you understand? Under this present dispensation, ethnicity is on the rise. Nigeria has been severely divided. Look at what he's talking about now, that his voice casting is coming to you later. You said you're coming to fight corruption. What have you done about it? This is not your first year. This is not your second year. What have you done about it? And you're telling me you're fighting corruption.
This didn't happen last year.
What is he saying?
We didn't have scarcity last year.
Towards the end of last year, we had scarcity. We had scarcity.
We didn't have scarcity.
Don't say that. Look at the facts. We did. Towards the end of last year.
We didn't have scarcity last year. It's as simple as that.
We had. Where I stay, I witnessed it well. There was scarcity.
I think we'll have to check that out.
Yes, you check it out. There was scarcity. Check it out. Feel free.
If I hold it. I'll talk about the NNPC stuff.
You said that by removing first subsidy, you totally, in your campaign promises, you totally eliminate fuel lines.
There is a publication
Why is there still
that under your
scarcity?
government, we lost 32 billion.
Every time we lose, we are always losing.
It is not
the
the
last
government
administration.
fault, right?
You have been playing your blame game.
Right?
You've been playing a blame game for 3 years. Hoodwinking Nigerians with your ineptitude and complete inefficiency. And you're telling me that everything the previous administration stole, everything the previous administration stole, everything the previous administration stole. Yes, you agree. But you always been. See, let me
implement TSA.
Let me point out
something.
Let me point out something.
Of what to use?
Let me point out
of what to use for you to come up
we
with
can
policy you don't
count
implement.
every single anytime this government is point when their ineptitude, their inefficiency, and their gross mishandling of affairs is put forth before them, they always blame the previous administration.
Assess the Buhari administration in 2017. Closing statement, 1 minute each.
The president has done fantastically well, judging by the fact that we have moved 24 places in terms of ease of doing business. People now get visa on arrival. even within 48 hours, you can get your visa for investors, right? We have added $500 million to the sovereign wealth fund. Inflation was 18% as of December last year. It's at 15.7 now, right? And you cannot tell me that a government who has been able to move reserve from a meager $25 billion as of December 2016 to $40 billion in 2017 has not done well. It is not by miracle. It is by hard work, and we need to appreciate that, right? On the whole, the economy is looking good. The manufacturing index is on the up for the 8th consecutive month.
All right, if I
First of all, I believe this government has disappointed the general Nigerian populace. First of all, my friend here knows how to use numbers to bamboozle and deceive. He's a very good sophist. You understand? But me, I judge based on what is on ground, the feelings of the general Nigerian populace. Thousands of people have been let go of their jobs just this year alone.
Thousands without FICO.
Hold on.
Thousands.
I'm going to
You
mention
figures.
companies. Konga downsized recently. Same with Junior. MTN has let go several. Do you understand? That's just on one side. You look at the police brutality. Look at how the military, look at how the
police go to
look
the
at how
economy.
I'm coming to the economy.
Mixing
You said
issue
I should,
up.
you
No,
told
he
me,
said economy.
You told me,
1
I
minute
allowed you
round
to
up.
speak. Let me
No, I'm
analyze.
guiding you.
Let me, and don't guide me.
Today you're
Don't
not supposed
guide
to
me.
interrupt.
He's
Don't interrupt
digressing.
me.
Police and economy.
Look at the.
You have 1 minute,
I'm
remember.
coming back to the economy. Look at the police brutality. Does that show you an efficient management? Does that show you that something is working? Does that tell you that the president understands how to appoint people? You get square pegs in round holes. Apart from that, you look at the whole IPOB issue, the use of military men to kill people, extrajudicial killings, because somebody, I do not endorse the activities of IPOB, but that was the wrong way of handling them. You handle things diplomatically. You handle things like a leader, not like a dictator.
All right, on that very saying it as it is note, we're bringing this program to a close. So this has been young Nigerians passionately discussing their country along the broad themes of the economy, security, and fighting corruption, scoring the President Muhammadu Buhari administration on these aforementioned sectors. I think this is one way to advance our democracy by always bringing people, knowledgeable people like we do here at Pulse, to always dissect and discuss the issue. On that very interesting note, we're bringing this program to a close. Thank you for watching, and we hope you subsequently join us on subsequent programs of this nature. Thank you very much.